Welcome to Unrestricted Flavor. My name is Mark Dirksing and I am so excited to have this opportunity to share my story and my recipes. In July of 2020, I started getting sick every time I ate. I had my gallbladder taken out and then the real hell began. Every morning I woke up with extreme abdominal pain, diarrhea, and vomiting. This continued for years. I have seen every doctor, had every test, and was poked and prodded in every orifice. I gave up beer, still sick. Gave up restaurants, still sick. Gluten, still sick. Dairy, high fructose corn syrup, onion, garlic, most fruits, most vegetables, still sick. I was exhausted. I wanted to give up. It would have been much easier, but I didn't. This series will be about my journey, my grief, my struggle, my therapy, and my strength while sharing recipes. Through this show, I am hoping that I can alleviate some of the pain and struggle so that you can enjoy the best quality of life given your illness. Let's start feeling better together. Welcome to this episode of Unrestricted Flavor. Today we're going to make spring rolls. We're also going to make barbecue meatballs, chicken sliders, and Parmesan crusted zucchini chips. When I get started with my cooking, I always start with a base, and it is my chicken and bacon base. One of the things though that you need to understand and understand your body is that with IBS, bacon can trigger episodes. So you kind of have to figure out what your balance is. I do it for a little bit of flavor, but it's not necessary. So if it does trigger your episodes, then just leave the bacon out. First, we'll line the bacon up. I like to do the bacon and the chicken so they grind together. It gets in the chicken. And so we will use this chicken base for the three of the recipes for the meatballs, the spring rolls, and the chicken sliders. The hardest part about living with this illness is that it is every day. It's something that I wake up with, I get through the day with, and I go to bed with. And I know there are many other people out there struggling with the same issues. But most days I wake up with abdominal pain. If I am having a good day, I do not end up having dry heaving. I don't actually vomit because a surgery I'll get into later, but I will dry heave for anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour. And then most days I have multiple episodes of diarrhea. Good days, 3, bad days between 8 and who knows, I'll lose count after 8. So it is a grind. And so this is one of the reasons why I want to do this show is that food is a major trigger. And so any little help that I can give you finding recipes for yourself and kind of make this an easier process for you. I know every time I ate something that would trigger, I would have a week or 2 weeks of illness. And so this is years and years of trial and error that I want to give to you so that you don't have to suffer through so many episodes and maybe alleviate some of the stress that you're under. We're going to start with the meat for the chicken sliders and the meatballs. I use some rice panko in those. The longer that you can let the rice panko sit with that meat, the better it'll taste. So I always try to leave it overnight in the fridge and then cook it the next day, but you don't have to. All right, so we are going to divide a pound of the chicken and bacon mix. And we'll get another pound for our meatballs. And then about 1/2 pound for your spring rolls. And all right, let's start with our chicken sliders. So we are going to use it's about 5 ounces of dill. So I bought a bushel and just broke it all off. We're going to use that. We are going to use our chives, and we will be using our rice panko. So I will put the meat in the mixing bowl. We are going to shred some Cracker Barrel artisan flavored dill Havarti. This is 0 grams of lactose. That's one thing for a long time I struggled with cheese, because I love cheese. And when I have heart issues and I also have these digestive issues, when I found out the cheese was going to be gone from my diet, let's say I was sad. So being able to find cheese that I am able to eat and it actually tastes good is awesome. The other nice thing is that this diet, I don't necessarily have to worry about my heart as much as I used to. I've had heart disease for 10 years. I had 2 heart attacks 11 years ago. So the best thing about this illness is that it's taking better care of my heart. I'm averaging around 500 to 1,000 calories a day, and all of my food is fresh, very few preservatives, and quite healthy. So this is not just a diet for those that have IBS and issues with their digestive system, but it is also a diet for people that want to lose weight or just want to get healthy. So for people that have IBS or issues with illness, they spend a lot of time starving themselves so that they can do activities. And so one thing I like to say to people that don't quite understand what I'm going through is imagine giving up food for a day and then just keep track of how many times you think about food. For somebody that has to give up food daily, it is tough. It is something that is emotional stress, it's physical stress, and it merits understanding. A lot of people through my illness didn't quite understand why I was going through this and why I struggled so much. I just want other people to kind of understand that illness is tough, chronic illness is tough. Most people, when they get sick, they get better. Somebody that's chronically sick gets sick and never gets better. And so people that get better don't quite understand, okay, well, why don't you just feel better? And it's just not an option. So my inspiration is both just for your physical needs, but also for emotional needs and just therapeutic needs. Helping you understand that you're not alone, that this is a long process. It is difficult. I was in denial about it for many years. And finally, you just have to come to terms with it and accept it. And then once you do accept it, once you do accept it, you are able to find a quality of life that you never imagined. 3 years ago, I was anchored to a toilet. Now I am starting my own cooking show. I have over 100 recipes that I've worked on, and I just am excited to share those with you. All right, so how do I infuse flavor into my chicken? So this is something that I worked on for many years early on in this process. I can't use onion or garlic, so I have to find other ways to get that very basic flavor into food. And I found that the different flavors of cheese help. And then chives have been my savior. Chives are very low in FODMAP and easy to digest, where onions are very difficult. So you get the flavor without the stomach upset. And then I will also add dill. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our food processor here, and we are going to combine our dill. And like I said, this is about 5 ounces of dill. And we have about 5 ounces of chives. And we are going to kind of get this mixture to stick, we are going to add some of that Dill Havarti. And our goal is to basically puree it. And now we will take that and combine it with our chicken. All right, so we have our cheese mix in with the chicken. Now we're gonna get 1/4 cup of rice panko and drop that in. We are going to add 1 egg. Now we are going to mix this together. And we're gonna let that mix for a little bit. We want that to get good and mixed. That's all of our flavor. We wanna make sure it is almost, and it is gonna be disgusting looking, but it almost has a green look to it. That's okay. It won't look that way when you cook it. And then the last thing we're gonna do is add a tablespoon of gluten-free soy. And I am going to now work on our meat for our spring rolls. So we are actually going to cook this meat. We are going to mix it with some chives. So we'll be mixing this with about 1/4 cup of chives. I go a little heavy because I want the flavor. I'm going to drop the meat. We're going to add our chives. And we'll go, that's good. All right. And we're just gonna keep this cooking. So we'll cook this up and then let that cool. And while we're doing that, we are going to stop the slider meat. All right, so we are actually ready to start cooking our slider meat. It's really simple and easy. So once we're at this point, we are going to get out a baking sheet. And all we're gonna do with our slider meat is we are going to lay it flat. After we use some of my Country Crock plain butter, plant butter with olive oil. This is the best stuff out there. If you have a problem with lactose, it's dairy free. Tastes like butter, you won't even know that you're not eating real butter. So what I do, I could use a cooking spray, but I really like using the butter because it gets a lot of brings out the moisture in the chicken meat, gives it a little extra flavor. And we are going to spread it out. And like I said earlier, you, for best results, want to leave this in the fridge overnight to let that rice panko get moisturized. All right, we're going to spread this out into your desired thickness. I like my sliders to be a little thinner, so I'm going to press it pretty thin. You don't have to worry about shape. You just want to try and get a consistent. All right, we're almost flat in there. Still on the butter. So now we're just going to take this sheet and we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes. We're gonna set the oven to 350. Don't forget to hit start. I do that all the time. And we are gonna take our flattened slider meat and we are going to put it in the oven. All right, now that our spring roll chicken is cooked and done, we are going to head over and work on our meatball mixture. So we have our pound of the chicken and bacon. Put that in there. We have 1/3 cup of rice panko again. Put that in there. All right, peppers. We have red and green peppers. Red peppers are very low in FODMAP. Green are not. So green do have the tendency to make you gassy or trigger some IBS. If you do it under like a small amount, it usually doesn't bother me. I like the flavor. It gives everything kind of a fresh flavor to it. So I use a small amount in my meatballs. Again, you can just eliminate these if you know that green peppers bother you, but I'm just going to use a little pinch of those, and then we're going to put in, it's about a third a cup of red peppers. And then we add our spices, and we're going to start with cumin. We get 1 teaspoon of cumin. We will use 1 teaspoon of paprika and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. I like mine ground, so we're just going to do this by eye. Give it a little, this gives a little flavor and a tiny bit of heat for us that can't have it. And then we're going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to take 1/3 cup of shredded cheese, and we're going to mix it into the mix. A healthy 1/3 cup. And we're going to put that in there as well. We are going to get an egg. And we are going to mix it. And we're going to go ahead and blend that. And when that's finished blending, we're going to shape that into 1/2-inch meatball size, cocktail size, and we will get that in the oven. So we are going to put our spring roll chicken mix that is cooked into the bowl. We are going to add some cilantro. I have some sliced water chestnuts that are low in FODMAP, a little crunch. We have some bean sprouts, and I just get them out of the can. LaTroy has them. And then we are going to get some shredded carrots. And then we're gonna hit it with a little bit of rice. This is just an Uncle Ben's microwave rice. Cook it in for the 90 seconds, let it cool, and it's just for texture. And this will be our filling for our spring rolls. We have a little extra green pepper, so maybe I'll throw a little bit of that in there just for fun. It's a thing I've learned. You never know where your flavor is going to come from, so I always like to just, maybe I've been doing this recipe the same way for a while, I just like to throw in another ingredient that I can eat, see how it changes the flavor, and it usually ends up being really tasty. All right, so we need a little bit of our soy sauce for this. 1 tablespoon of soy. And we're gonna set this aside. We will eventually wrap it up into some spring rolls wrappers and cook it up in the air fryer. All right, our slider meat is done. We're gonna go ahead and grab that out of the oven. All right, and that is what the slider meat will look like. So to start our barbecue meatballs, we are going to use some cooking spray just to keep them from sticking to the pan. Again, I like using foil because it just keeps my pans clean. All right, we are just going to scoop out and make little cocktail size meatballs. All right, so we're almost finished rolling up all of our meatballs here. And we're gonna put these in the oven at 350 for about 25 minutes. Now we are going to make our tomato-less barbecue sauce for our meatballs. We are going to start with a whole marinated red pepper. So you need to make sure you're paying attention to the ingredients again. This one only has red pepper, water, vinegar, and salt. Sometimes they sneak garlic and other things in there, so just make sure that you're aware. But I've had good luck with this brand. I get all of my exotic foods at Jungle Gyms, one of my favorite places to go since I got sick. We are going to put about a full red pepper in here. There we go. And why not just use the juice that's provided for us? So we're going to get some of this juice out. 2 tablespoons of the, didn't quite get 2 there, of the marinated juice. And now we're going to add some molasses. 2 tablespoons of molasses. And 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Put that in there. And now we're going to add our seasonings. This is all going to be 1/2 teaspoon, except for the paprika, we're going to do a full teaspoon. So we'll start with that. We're going to full teaspoon of paprika. Okay, so we have our teaspoon of paprika. We want 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And we are going to add some salt and pepper, about a few twists there. Pepper. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of soy. All right, and lastly, we're putting in our 1/4 cup of chives. But you're going to take all of these ingredients and we're going to put them in our magic bullet and we're going to blend them together. Alright, depending on how thick you would like your barbecue sauce, you can add a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it up, which I might do because this seems pretty... Yep, we're going to do just a tiny bit, 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. Alright, and that's our barbecue sauce. We're going to put this in the fridge until the meatballs are ready. All right, while the meatballs are finishing up, we are going to get started on our Parmesan crusted zucchini chips. So we'll do this in a couple stages. The first thing you're gonna do is cut up your zucchini in about 1/4-inch slices. So we're gonna put these aside and we're going to start working on our Parmesan mix. We're going to get some of our panko. I use Parmesan cheese. You're going to have to decide if your stomach can handle this. Mine does. It has a minimal amount of lactose in it. I am able to eat it, but you'll just have to experiment. They do make plant-based Parmesan cheeses that you can buy as well. Those will work just fine for us. And then we're going to mix about 1/4 cup of Parmesan. Add some salt and pepper. And my favorite, our chives. Just a little bit, and then we're going to mix this together. Now we are going to make the cheesy dill sauce dip for our zucchini. We will start with some lactose-free milk. That was about 1/2 cup. Now we will add lactate cottage cheese. Just about 1/2 cup will go into milk. 1/4 teaspoon of ground mustard. 1/4 teaspoon of dried dill. Again, I like to keep it fresh, but for this you won't use a whole batch of it, so I just use some dry dill. And the nice thing is that we're going to finish up using that dill Havarti that we used earlier, and that will bring out the dill flavor as well. We're going to mix a little salt, a little pepper, we've got our soy sauce. We're doing just a little sprinkle of soy. About 1/2 teaspoon, and then we are going to add our dill Havarti. All right, now we are going to blend this in my magic bullet blender. And if you are having your Super Bowl party, I recommend doing some of this the night before. The longer you let some of this stuff sit, the more flavorful it'll be. So overnight is perfect. But this is finished. We're ready now for our zucchini chips. All right, we're gonna spray with olive oil cooking spray. And easiest recipe ever. You're gonna take your zucchini, you're gonna dip it in your mixture. It will stick. Do it on both sides and put it in your air fryer. All right, we're gonna do 390. We're gonna do 6 minutes on each side. All right, so spring roll wrappers can be kind of a pain at times. They are sticky. So what I recommend, you can't really put them on a flat surface to roll them. I recommend using a towel that's got some texture to it. They tend to come off the towel a little bit easier. We need a little water. We're gonna soak them to get them pliable. All right, we're gonna take one of our spring roll wrappers. And you just let it soak in the water to let it become pliable. The directions for this are on most of the packaging. But as soon as you feel that it's pliable, we will take it out. We'll set it on your towel. And you scoop in our mixture from before. So it has the chicken, the bean sprouts, the rice, the chestnuts. Wrap it like a burrito. So we bring over those edges, bring this part up. We're just gonna wrap it like so. And put it to the side for the air fryer. Zucchini chips are out and ready to go. Out on our plate. So we'll go ahead and hit it with a little bit more cooking spray. Go ahead and get our spring rolls. Set them on the air fryer. 390 for 10 minutes. Grab our barbecue meatballs. And we have our barbecue sauce we made earlier. We're going to drizzle some of that over our meatballs. Cheesy dill sauce for our zucchini. This is about the closest thing that I've been able to eat to ranch that I've been able to eat. So just take a little bit of that, put it by our chips. Now we are going to put together our sliders. So bread is kind of a pain in the butt when it comes to being gluten-free. These are some of my favorites. They work perfectly for hamburgers, cheeseburgers, sandwiches. They're my go-to bread. Right. Get those defrosted. We're going to come over and grab our slider meat. And essentially, we are going to cut this into squares. So you're going to make your patties whatever size you want. We'll cut the bread and take the patty. Spring rolls. Nice and crunchy. We're gonna make our very easy spring roll dip. So this was the first thing that I found that had flavor that fit all of my requirements. I fell in love with it quickly. Don't necessarily use it for full meals anymore, but I do use it as an additive. But it has no onion and garlic, which is awesome. It is also gluten-free. So just something to make your life a little easier. Pour a little in. We're going to Mix it with a scoop of sour cream. Mix this together. Add a little soy and chives, and that is it. All right, there we have it, our platter for our Super Bowl party. Chronic illness sucks, but you don't have to be sick alone. Life can and does improve. Let's start feeling better together today. See you next time on Unrestricted Flavor.
If you want to do a couple things, you can, but...
You can put that in there.